Hello, acrobats.
Hey everybody! This is our holiday edition.
We're going to teach rotisseries today, and rotisseries are another washing machine which I would put on the very important list. It's in many other washing machines which Debbie and I love and teach. So you learn rotisseries, and then you're going to be good at many other washing machines.
Rotisseries are just as important as side stars. They're in so many washing machines, so we might as well get good at those while we're at it.
Rotisseries was made by Lux Sternstein and Graham Quinn. So, want to get started?
Yeah, let's do it.
We're going to start with 3-step rotisseries, because those are easier than 2-step rotisseries.
And flyers, just like side stars, rotisseries can really make your hips sore. So if you have another layer of clothes, like an extra pair of shorts, then you should grab those for this lesson.
We're going to show you how to get into a sideways back fly. So we'll get in from a couch. I think this is the best way to get in. Then I'm going to grab Debbie's top hand. And it's important that I can see my own palm and I can see the back of her hand. There's a lot of ways to grab the wrong way, like it's not this, it's this. And then I step here, and then this is where I step to her back. And Debbie's leg is down right now, and it'll just go up towards the wall over that way. And she rolls. Her foot is going to end up pointed towards the ceiling. Yeah, and it's not 100% necessary you have to do it this way, but this is how Debbie and I like to do it the most. And this is what we're going to practice holding for a second. We're going to start with hands, so we have plenty of stability. And you can do just hold it steady, feel it. Make sure it's completely sideways. I don't want to see anything like this. So you're completely sideways.
Mostly the balancing I'm doing is forwards and backwards. So, sorry Jacob, I either want to bring more weight to my head or less weight to my head. So one thing I can do is I can straighten this leg and bring it down more, or I can bring it up higher, or I can do a lot with this leg too. I can bring my knee closer to my head if more weight needs to go this way, or I can bring my knee back and I can drop the weight to my legs.
And once you feel good with the hand, then you can try taking it away and balance here.
And again, my arms are pretty heavy, so a lot of weight can come this way if I bring my arms down. So you can play with that. You can try having your arms back.
Yeah, I would suggest for flyers doing small movements and slowly, because it really throws off the weight. And I can spot this by keeping my hand close to her shoulder so I can save it if it falls.
And I can do a straight leg or a bent leg. You can play with that too. Try and see which one you like more.
If you're feeling really good, try swivels.
So flyers, I'm really trying to drape myself over the base's leg, and I hang down over his leg, and then my knee is sticking straight up, and I can kind of play with the balance forwards and backwards, and you'll feel it. It's really, really minute, but make little adjustments, and the base might need to adjust too. I like Jacob's foot really pretty low on my back. It's like right here. And it is better for me to be too low than to be too high. When it's too high, I really can't balance at all. I just fall to my feet. So play around with the foot placement too.
We start on a couch. You grab Flyer's top hand, make sure base can see the back of Flyer's wrist. and we have to have good form even starting from here. See how we have a straight line from armpit to armpit? There's all kinds of ways to do this wrong that I've seen. You could have like chest down, you could have elbows bent. You don't want any of that. I've got my arm straight, she's got her arm straight.
I'm lifting my chest and I'm lifting my legs up. Well, my top leg up.
And I notice that I have to turn my arm really far externally rotated to keep this looking right.
Yeah, that really helps.
Okay, now we'll start stepping. That's the easy step. And now this is the sacrum step. And we don't have to let go of hands with this washing machine. You're actually not supposed to. So now we step on this hip again, and you see how I'm reaching across diagonally. You can't step here because that's where her stomach is. I have to reach over to her hip. Right, and then we're back to almost the beginning. And here's an important part. This is where we have to do our regrip. And I'm going to start with the easiest way to regrip first. The easiest way is I grab her foot, and then we let all the way go and regrip. Okay, and we'll show you some other ways to do it as we go around. All right, now we go to the sacrum. And hip again. And now we're going to show you how to do a schmear. A schmear is where we undo our fingers and then we turn our hands around like that, and we still have contact with the whole palm. Go around again. And the one Debbie and I like to do the most is, it's a really quick let go and re-grab. And you need to be able to do no hand side stars. This is something we covered in our side star video. But one more time, can we do that a few times?
Yeah.
You have to balance. You have to balance so that you can let your whole hands go. And just turn it right around. So.
So you'll see that we re-grip each time my back is to the base. So whenever he sees my back, that's when we switch our hand again.
I want to talk about exactly how I turn my hand. There's some subtle things I'm doing with my hand, and I'll show you what I mean. And it's here mainly. So here I'm going to step onto her back, and watch how I turn my hand. Just focus here. I externally rotate my hand. And you see what I did? It's a movement like this. And if you don't do that, it'll twist up your flyer's shoulder.
He also brings his arm out wide for me, and that makes me able to rotate around my arm easier than if my arm is like crunched up here by my head.
Yeah. I'm also keeping her body sideways to me. You know, my arm isn't straight out to the side, or else her body would be diagonal. I have to push diagonally away from myself. So let's do that again.
So float regrip.
And then here's where I do the rotation of my wrist. So when you're in this sideways back plank part, I've turned so that I can see the back of my own wrist. Now I also want to talk about where my elbow is straight. My arm is straight almost the whole time. I think it's straight the whole time, actually.
Yep, my arm stays straight too. Okay, for flyers, so Jacob looks at my watch, and then he takes a foot away, and then I'm pushing into this hand, and I'm pushing into my hip, and for this first step here, I like bring my legs together, and then I turn this hip down. I'm basically just trying to roll my top hip back. And then we roll to my back. And here it's the same thing. This is what makes rotisseries really nice. So watch, this bottom leg here is just going to turn and point down, and my top leg is going to stay up. And then I push into my hand. So I bring my top leg down and my down leg up, and then I turn my hips. And this is where we regrip, because now he's looking at my back. So I turn to my back, and this leg goes up. And then this is all in the legs here. I just point this leg down and keep this leg up, and then I'm pushing into my hand.
Another thing I want to mention is how I keep Debbie's weight on my heels as much as possible. That's because she's rolling forwards. And so when I step, I start with her weight on my heel, and then as she rolls, she'll roll onto my toes. And if I don't do that, she could roll right off of my foot onto my face. So each time I step, I have to make sure there's plenty of foot for her to roll onto. I'm going to do a base view so you can see exactly what I'm doing. There's the hand. I'm looking at the back of her hand. And I step. And I have to reach across here, and my foot goes on her back. And then her other leg goes straight up in the air. And when I step here, I cross a little bit too. We're ready to do actual rotisseries now, the two-step kind. We're going to start like we have been, from couch.
Still the same hand grip. He looks at my watch.
And this is the easy step. And now we're doing something completely different. This is the hard step. And it's different because I have to reach down really far. Don't roll back yet, Debbie. So I have to bend this knee, and I've basically bending down as far as I can, and I have to touch my heel to her top butt cheek, and then she's going to roll onto it. I'm ready for you now. Good. And if you did it right, you'll end up in a nice side star. Her hip is at about the middle of my foot there. Then we do the easy step. We do a regrip. And then we do the hard step. You want to say what you're doing, babe?
Yep, each time my back is to him, we're regripping. And then I'm waiting for Jacob. I'm letting him bend his leg. I'm just waiting. I'm hanging out. I don't want to roll back yet. I wait till I feel his foot. And then I just make my roll quick, and I pike this leg down right away. I think that's the most important thing you can do when you roll, is bring this leg down. Even if you leave your chest down, it's not very good looking, but you will end up in a side star if you just point your leg down. But then I'm also pushing up tall. So I pike my leg down, we regrip our hand, and I wait, and then I roll, and then I push up.
I want to talk about what I'm doing with my arms. I have to keep this arm, my elbow is straight, but my arm is pushed out to the side. And even though my arm is out kind of diagonal, I still have to provide a good, solid ground for her to press against. She presses a lot right here, and that's where I have to be especially strong. Debbie, you should talk about how close you have to keep your arm to your head.
Yeah, watch my head while I do this roll. I basically roll right around my elbow. So I just look at my elbow while I roll, and I keep my arm straight.
We should show a bad one. So when people aren't doing this very well, their head will drop really far down to the ground as they do this step. They'll go, yeah, like that, before they go back up. And you want to avoid that. Your head is going to drop down a little bit, but you want to avoid it as much as possible. Minimize the drooping of the head.
So I'll do it slow. I start pushing in his hand right here. And I'm just trying to make my other arm pretty. You might not know what to do with it, but I just do that. I think it looks good.
We're going to do a head to the camera view so you can see exactly what's going on. And we regrip. Now for this one, watch my wrist again. I have to turn my wrist, and it's the only way that we can stop from getting tangled up. So we need our arm out, and I have to do a motion like this as we do this step. Do a couple more. This is so you can have a close-up of what I'm doing with my feet. You reach, heel touches, and around. We've been doing the same kind of rotisserie each time. There's actually 4 altogether. You can do a rotisserie, you can just stand there. There's a rotisserie starting from here, here, And in both of those, flyer's head is facing this way, and then you can be over here, and then there's 2 more side stars from here and here. And why don't we do a couple real fast? This one goes from inside regular to outside reverse. And then this one goes from inside reverse to outside regular.
Okay.
And then it's the same thing on the other side.
Right.
Now, a few more variations. This is once you're good at rotisseries and you want to try something harder, we're going to do no base hands. So no base hands at all. It's pretty challenging. We're going to do a rotisserie with base hands but with legs together. And this one is much harder because she has no hip pocket. The hand regrip is especially squirrely. But we got it.
Yeah. That is a lot harder. Well, that was our video on rotisseries.
Yeah, we hope you enjoyed it. And next we'll be throwing some washing machines at you which have rotisserie in it. You'll be all ready for those.
All right.
Okay, signing off. Merry Christmas.
Happy holidays. We'll see you guys next year.